Today we're going to talk about clipper blades and when has the end of life come for your blade. So stay tuned. Alright, welcome back everybody. This is Dale with Delano's Edge Professional Blade Sharpening. I'm here in Montgomery, Alabama. Talking today about the life of your clipper blades and when is it time to throw them away and get another pair. I'm going to start off by saying when not to throw it away. I don't know why this is, but a lot of vet clinics that I've gone to see if they need any service have said that they use the blade until it gets dull and then they throw it away. That doesn't make any sense. I don't know why they do that. If you know, please comment and let me know why. I don't know if they've been burned by another sharpener or what the deal is. I'm not really sure, but or if it's possible they just may be saying that to keep sharpeners from bugging them. I don't know. But if you do know, please comment and let me know what the deal is. I can't help but to think that if you're going to throw them away after the first time they get dull, there's a lot of groomers out there that would be more than glad to take them off your hands. So yeah, fill me in on that story. The truth of the matter is, of course, a clipper blade can be sharpened many times. Alright, so that being said, let's move on. Alright, I think the first thing that can ruin your blades, all of y'all know, rust. Look at that. I mean, that is just nasty. If you use your clipper blades, well, let's say you've got plenty of blades and you've got a certain one that you don't use all that often. You use it, throw it back in the drawer or wherever you keep it, and then it sits there forever, and maybe you only clean the ones that you use all the time. Well, they get clogged up with hair, of course, and then they sit there, nobody paying any attention to them because they're hardly used, and they sit there and start rusting with all that stuff caked up in them. It just tears your blades up. Now, I don't know how well you can see this. I think I'm pretty far from the camera, but it's no big deal. I've got some photos I'm going to go on here and put on the video for you and talk a little bit through them that have a lot better details than what I could show you right here. Okay, so here's a clipper blade that has not been taken care of, and you can see all that rust up in the teeth. I mean, it's bad rust. That's just bad neglect right there. Alright, now of course after that I take it apart, and here's the next photo. Alright, that's the cutter, and if you look at the teeth up there, just like that first picture, you see all that rust in there, and it's bad. I haven't sharpened it yet. All I've done is taken it apart, and notice all the rust along the edges of those teeth. Okay, now this is after 5 sharpenings. That's the same cutter, 5 sharpenings. You can see all of the black spots on the teeth. All those black spots along the edge of the teeth is going to grab hair. Okay, you see all of it? That's 5 sharpenings, and I still haven't got past all that pitting. That's where the rust digs into that steel and just corrodes it, and it's going to grab hair unless I keep sharpening and get past that. Alright, there's the comb, and it looks like it's in a little bit better shape, but still, by the time you put that cutter and comb together, it's not good. I've still got more sharpening to do to get past that. Okay, so this right here, this is a typical sharpening. This is 27 clipper blades. So let's think about it for a minute. Now, these are in good shape. Some of them are just kind of old, but ultimately, alright, let's think. If these were all rusted like the other one that you just saw, that's 27 blades. Now, if I have to sharpen each one of those at least 5 times to get past the pitting, that's 135 sharpenings. That's an extra 108 sharpenings as opposed to 27 clipper blades. It's not worth my time. And it's not, I'm just not doing it, especially to support a bad habit. So I'm not doing that anymore. Now, if you have somebody else that, if you want to have it done, I'm sure there are other sharpeners out there that'll charge a little bit more and do it for you. I'm just not doing it. Alright, I do want to show you the backside of a clipper blade. Some of you, plenty of you may already know this, but some of you may not. So if you already know, of course, just disregard. But I feel like it's part of my job as a services type business to keep y'all informed. So anyway, when it comes to how many sharpenings can a blade take before it needs to be thrown away, now I've got to be a little bit careful here. There are a lot of sharpeners out there, and everybody runs their business the way they want to, and I'm probably going to get some hate mail for this, maybe some phone calls, I don't know. But technically all I can do is speak for myself and speak for, or respond to rather, comments and all I've heard from other groomers that seem to somewhat not make any sense to me. Some of them do make sense, but here's the deal. This is the rail back here on the back side of the comb. There, it runs all the way through over here to the other side. It's a raised up area, and then there's this area up here on the comb where the cutting action takes place between the comb and the cutter. Those two areas, the rail and the head of the cutter up here, that's the only two areas that get sharpened. Well, for the comb. Now on the cutter itself, it's pretty much the same thing. See back here, this little raised up area that runs all the way across, same thing up here. That's the areas that actually get sharpened. But let me take you to some photos and talk to you some more through that. Okay, the reason I was showing you the where the rails and all are is, okay, here's a picture. If you look right in the middle, that's the rail that I was trying to show you. And up above, of course, that's the where the cutting action takes place. And you can see how much higher those two shiny areas are raised up above the rest of the platform. That's where the sharpening happens. It can take a lot of sharpenings. Now, I've heard from groomers that there have been sharpeners that will actually etch little X's on there, and they would ask them, why are they putting X's on there? And they say, well, when we get to 3 X's, it can't be sharpened anymore. And that's not the truth. I don't know where that comes from, but you can get many sharpenings in a clipper blade. Now look at this. This is, the rail is pretty much gone. You can see there's just a little bit on the left hand side. You can see a little bit of raised area there, but on the right hand side you can see that as you sharpen, or as I sharpen it, it's smoothed out from the top to bottom on the right hand side. It's getting near the end of its life. A lot of sharpeners, as soon as they see your clipper, if they see shiny like that all the way across there, and see, this one's even worse, a lot of them will say, this can't be sharpened anymore, it's no good. Well, I'm sorry, this is where some people are going to get mad, but that is not the truth. There's not a certain number of sharpenings it can take. When it gets to this point and everything is smooth on the inside of there like that, it's just up to you. When I sharpen it and give it back to you and it's already looking like this, there's going to come a point where it's not cutting right anymore, no matter how much I sharpen it. So it's really up to you when you decide, okay, he just sharpened it, but it still ain't doing right. If it's looking like this, excuse me, and it's not doing the way it's supposed to do anymore, then it's time to get another blade. So that's the second death, I reckon. That's But I don't mind sharpening that. See, the reason they will tell you that they're not going to sharpen it anymore because it's no good is because this is hard on our equipment. When we're sharpening this much flat steel as opposed to just that rail and just the cutter area, it's a lot of wear and tear on our equipment. But at the same time, I'm going to be square with you, and the whole point is to try to get as much out of it as you can. You're trying to make a living too. Of course, I am too. So, have mercy on me. When it gets like this, if it's not cutting right anymore, don't keep trying to squeeze sharpenings out of it. Get you another set. So that's what the deal is when it comes to that. Some sharpeners will say it can't happen anymore. Some won't let it get anywhere near close to that, and they'll tell you it can't be sharpened anymore. And that's just not the truth. We just don't like to sharpen that because it's so much harder on our equipment. So that's the deal with that. That's number 2 on the list. All right, so hopefully I have helped y'all out when it comes to the being able to look at the backside of your blade and know what's what there. All right, let's move on to the next thing. All right, teeth. The teeth on the combs when they break off. If you're going to keep using a clipper blade after there's been some breakage on there on the teeth of the comb, if it's just one tooth or whatever, it seems like that's not as bad. But if it's anywhere in the middle, you stand a much higher chance of cutting an animal, and of course that's a huge no-no. Kind of like at a vet clinic or a doctor, it's first thing you got to keep in mind is do no harm. And you use stuff like that on an animal, and you're asking for it. You're going to cut somebody's pet. Now this down here, you can see that the comb is broke way down low, and the cutter itself is sticking up above it. I don't know how well you can see this, but you imagine that dog's skin up in there. As it comes across, it will cut. It's going to cut them. So throw that away. It's time to get another one. Don't take the chance. Don't be all risky and brave, and hey, get rid of it. Get you another one. Alright, I'm hoping that I've helped you guys out today. Of course, I would love all of your comments, thoughts, and opinions. I want to be able to keep producing videos that are helpful and useful to y'all. And of course, I'm going to keep making videos, so by all means, please subscribe, like, share it, and so that you'll get notified when a new video comes out, be sure that you hit that little bell on there for notifications. That way you'll be alerted when a new video comes out. Alright, I appreciate it, everybody, and stay sharp.